Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearing for Attorney General Senator Al Frankin asked the question that led to Jeff Sessions recusing himself from the Russia investigation and might lead to much, much worse for Jeff Sessions.
If there is any evidence that anyone affiliated with the Trump campaign communicated with the Russian government in the course of this campaign, what will you do?
Senator Frankin, I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians.
Since then, Senator Sessions corrected his under oath testimony and revealed that he had 2 meetings with the Russian ambassador during the presidential campaign. Reports tonight indicate that he might have had a 3rd meeting with Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Joining us now, Senator Al Frankin, whose new book is entitled Al Frankin, Giant of the Senate. Senator Frankin, we're going to discuss your book a little later, but I want to get to this breaking news tonight. So you had this moment in the hearing where he said no contact with the Russians. Very clear. He corrected that.
And he didn't correct it for over 70 days. And he only corrected it after the Washington Post broke the story that he had met twice with Kislyak.
So, more than enough time for him to comb his memory, to comb his records, and find every conceivable meeting that could be applicable to that testimony.
Yes, and we asked for a letter for him to explain this, and it was very unsatisfactory. And in fact, Senator Leahy, who's also on the Judiciary Committee, and I sent a private letter to then CIA Director Comey, asking them
FBI Director Comey.
FBI Director Comey, asking him and the FBI to investigate whether, in fact, Sessions had met other times with Russians, including this meeting that we're talking about in the Mayflower.
Did you know about that meeting in the Mayflower when you sent that letter to the FBI Director?
Yes. Now, it had been characterized one way, but we had some reason to believe that that wasn't the case. It had been described in a way that he could plausibly say, I don't remember that. But what's coming out today, I believe, is that that may not be the case. And if this is true, that would be extremely disturbing.
And in your letter with Senator Leahy to the FBI, you haven't publicly revealed that before.
No.
What about tonight's breaking news makes you feel that you should publicly reveal that you've asked for this investigation?
Well, because it's tied very closely to this breaking news. I've been in, our office has been in contact with the FBI on this, and they said they were crafting a response to us, and it sounded to us that something was about to break on this.
So you're not completely surprised that this story's developed publicly now the way it has?
No.
What can you tell us about what more you expect to find out about Jeff Sessions' meeting with Russians?
Well, again, this is a very serious charge. If it's true, it's extremely disturbing, and I'd rather let it come out the way it's going to come out.
You said when we first discussed this on this program, that his omissions to your question in the live testimony under oath, you saw that as perjury at that time. What about this new revelation?
Well, he testified falsely under oath. And it seemed like that would be perjury, but this obviously, it depends how this comes out. But this is, again, this fits a pattern with the Trump people. They don't act like people have nothing to hide. And we've seen it with Kushner not disclosing meetings, Flynn lying about meetings. This has been a pattern and it's very, very serious.
Well, and it is a kind of stunning pattern that it's across the board. It's hard to think of, has anyone in this administration, when asked about contacts with Russians, been forthcoming and kind of opened their books and said, here's what I've done, here's everyone I've met.
No, and this is something you're supposed to do when you apply for a security clearance. This is what Jared Kushner didn't do. This is Senator Sessions' letter to us was insulting our intelligence when he said why he didn't do this. It actually contradicted his own explanations in the press conference, and when he recused himself, that was a significant moment. That's really what I had asked him. I had asked him if it turns out that there were these contacts, what would you do?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was, and he answered a question I didn't ask. Then he pivoted, I guess, to and said, didn't meet with any Russians during the campaign. A lot of people have thought that I was like playing three-dimensional chess and anticipating his pivot. Mm-hmm. He just answered a question I didn't ask, and maybe it was a pivot away from not recusing himself, but he ended up recusing himself. Now we have a special counsel who's going to be looking into this, and we will get to the bottom of this, I believe. I think Bob Mueller is the right guy to do it.
We're going to have to squeeze a break in.